Hi, welcome to Environmental Science. I'm Miss Williams and I will be your talking head for the duration of this semester. So we're going to go through a preview of the class, kind of what to expect and where to go to find things. So I apologize in advance. This is weird talking to myself. I'm used to being in front of an audience and having some feedback. So I'm going to do my best not to get too off track as we move through these videos, but I'll be giving you some weekly videos. So when you go to your weekly folder, go ahead and watch those because it's going to explain what you're doing, where to find things, and answer some questions that I get frequently or that, you know, some specifics that might be confusing. So refer back to this video anytime you have any questions, and please watch this video through, listen intently, okay? And then if you have any questions after, please always email me if you get confused, but I am going to answer just about every question I've ever had for the class in this video and go through step by step what you need to pay attention to, which is everything, but I'll give you some pointers. Anyway, so here we go. What do we got to do? First and foremost, the most important thing is to start navigating the course site. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And I apologize, I have two monitors. So if it looks like I'm not looking directly at the camera, I'm not, because I can't focus right here the whole time. I have to look around at my computer screen. Okay, so anyway, here we go. Let's share my screen. Yeah. And we're going to share this one. Okay, so you should be seeing the Blackboard site. And over here we have Getting Started. Hey, check that out. Here in Getting Started, it explains, you know, how to use the Blackboard site, kind of short and sweet. Okay, you guys should be pretty familiar with Blackboard at this point in your academic careers, but if you're not, you know, read through this and kind of some specifics on this particular course, because I don't do things exactly the same way as everybody else does. And then just, you know, some specifications that you need to have for your computer to be compatible. Listen, Mac people, sometimes there's compatibility issues. Don't submit things to me that are in dot pages. I cannot see them. I am a HP person. I don't like Macs. I know there's like this, you know, long standing, God, what's the word I'm looking for? You have to excuse my brain. I have mom brain and it's the morning. But you know, Macs versus PCs, right? So anyway, no dot pages, I can't do them. When in doubt, make a Google Doc. Okay, I can always open Google Docs. You just have to give me permission. Okay, so what is the most important thing to pay attention to in this class? It is your course schedule. So let's look at that. Over here in lecture, so follow my cursor, right? Over here in lecture, boom, open that guy up right here, course schedule. I don't use Blackboard's course schedule because I don't want to have to update my dates 3 times a year, 81,000 times. Okay, there's 81,000 items in this course and I'm not changing the date 3 times a year. I have found a better way. There's not actually 81,000, okay? Obviously I'm exaggerating. So here's my better way, course schedule. Open that baby up. It's gonna download and we'll take a look. I like to have everything in one place, compiled, neat, and color-coded, okay? So I've done that for you here. So we'll go to the top, all right. Black lettering, these are the weeks. Check it out, see, week 1, classes start August 30th. White lettering, these are suggested days, okay? So if you follow my course schedule and you keep pace with what I've laid out, you'll have no trouble getting your work done, okay? If you slack and you don't do things until Sunday night, you might not get it turned in and you're gonna lose 20 points. So white lettering, follow the schedule best as you can, but I give you wiggle room because we work, we have jobs and lives and families, and so I don't have things due throughout the week. I have every single thing due by Sunday, but it is in your best interest to submit your work ahead according to the suggested dates. However, you will not lose points unless you submit after the Sunday due dates. So blue lettering, Suggested days to complete and submit gradable work. And then red lettering, this is like your end all be all. You must submit by Sunday night at midnight or you lose credit. But I have what is known as grace periods in this class, okay? If you don't submit by Sunday night for whatever reason, you can still turn your work in up until a particular grace period with a 20-point deduction. So I will be grading, you know, on Mondays, and stuff that comes in late, I'm going to take off points. So here, let's just look at week 1, okay, so we can get the hang of this. Week 1, classes start. You need to complete your syllabus quiz. That is the very first thing that you need to do. It goes through the syllabus, explains tons of questions, even more so than what I'm going to cover here, okay, and then submit your introduction discussion. Get you comfortable with how we do discussions in this class. Hey, this is who I am. Anything, you know, what do you like to do for a hobby? What's your major? Stuff like that. Anything you want to add to your introduction, you do that. Now, for the introduction, you just got to do one thread. For the remainder of discussions in this class, you have to submit 3. One is your original thread, your response to the prompt question. The second is a response to a classmate, and the third is a second response to a classmate. Get the discussion going, okay? Then over here, follow the cursor, yeah. Read chapter 1, you should be doing that, you know, by Wednesday if you haven't done it already. Read your book. This is the foundation of learning this in this class. Review all the material in the chapter 1 folder. We're gonna go look at that in a minute. And then submit the sustainable food discussion. Create your response to the question and respond to classmates. And then we also have lab. Lab is in light blue. You need to complete the microscope lab this week. We'll go look at that. By Friday, you should have done all of that, you know, somewhere between Tuesday and Thursday. And then by Friday, you're ready to take quiz 1. Now, if you got to work on Friday, you got a hot date, whatever you got to do, it doesn't matter. You didn't take quiz 1. Just make sure it's done. Everything, syllabus quiz, microscope lab, and quiz 1, all done. Oh, well, actually, I guess I don't have quiz 1 due until the next week, but all done by Sunday, okay? If you do it after Sunday, 20 points, gone. Okay, so moving on. You can see as the weeks go on, all of these things are listed. Here's what you should be doing, when you should be doing them, and the absolute last day to turn things in. Now listen, you're one of those people who's like, hey, I got till Sunday. You're gonna have 3 to 4 items every week that you need to do between your discussions, your quizzes, your labs. Don't wait until Sunday, okay? You're gonna be hard pressed to get everything done by Sunday night, okay? And if you do this repeatedly and you lose points, there's only so much I can do to help you not lose points, okay? Right now, you all have A's in the class because we haven't done anything. You can only lose points from here. So just make sure you get your work in on time, and that will happen. Over here in this kind of synopsis box under coursework, it has everything listed that you should be covering, reading, reviewing, and submitting, okay? Then we're getting to our first grace period. There are 4 in this class. They're quarterly, okay? So, hey, first grace period right there. Bright colors. Make sure you get your stuff in by this date, okay? Here's the difference between Sunday submission deadlines and grace periods. I won't take anything that was due by the first grace period after that due date. So if you didn't do the microscope lab, you forgot it, it's fine. Do it by the first grace period right here, which for this semester is the 26th of September, okay? You didn't do quiz 2, get it done by the first grace period, all right? If you don't get it done by the first grace period, I'm not taking it. You gotta have it done by that time, okay? So all of this material from weeks 1 through 4, you have a month of wiggle room to where I will no longer take it. But if you turn it in after September 26th for this semester, okay, and make sure you're paying attention to your course schedule, this is for future semesters, okay? These work the same way. You have your 4 grace periods. Everything for the first 4 weeks of class has to be submitted by the first grace period. If you submit it after the grace period, I don't even look at it. It's a wash. It's gone to the wind. You don't get that grade. There's a 0, okay? So you have a whole month of wiggle room. Make sure you get it done. And you can check what you've completed by going to My Grades on Blackboard. Go to My Course, look at your grade submissions, and then compare them to what is due for weeks 1 through 4. And then you can make sure you got everything in. So over here, I explain, okay, hey, all work from weeks 1 through 4 must be submitted. 20-point penalty will be applied to all work not submitted on its due date, but no work from weeks 1 through 4 will be accepted after the first grace period. So I'm going at length about this because it's important, because I want you to do the best that you can do, and zeros don't help, okay? But that is my policy. I stick to it, okay? No exceptions except for crazy, scenarios, all right? If you have something crazy happen, always let me know. But I know excuses, and hey, I just didn't do it. Hey, you just didn't do it, learn from that. Do better next time. But if, something happens, you're in a car accident, you're in the hospital for 3 days and you can't get your one last thing submitted by the first grace period, by all means, let me know. And I say that because this has happened in the past, okay? So always tell me if something, extenuating has occurred in your life. Okay, moving on. So that's basically it. Okay, you have a 2nd grace period, a 3rd grace period, and a 4th grace period, okay? Your last test 4, is due on a Friday, because that's how the semester works out, okay? So pay close attention to when things are due. Everything is always due on a Sunday, except for test 4, so that's that. Okay, so that is the course schedule. Now, let's go to where you find stuff. So lecture, okay, we'll go to lecture. Here's where you're going to do your introduction discussion. And of course, there's your course schedule. Here's some important course documents. Okay, open up that folder, look through there. Students always want to know, is there extra credit? Yep, right here. Check it out. Extra credit. National Geographic, you're going to be using the National Geographic site. So get used to that. We can kind of poke around in there. Not sure how this is going to work with the pandemic, but there used to be some extra credit with this food recovery program. I don't know that there will be, but I can check on that in the future. Okay, so let's go back to lecture. And then you got to do everything in week 1. Here's your week 1 folder. Anytime you need to take a quiz, it's in this folder. And anytime you need to take a test, it's in that folder. Quizzes and tests right there in the beginning of the lecture site, okay? So let's look at week 1. In week 1, you have your chapter PDF, okay? This is the PowerPoint that, we would normally review in lecture. You're gonna go through and you're gonna read it yourself, and it's annotated. Now, important, pay attention if I have lost you. If you're in the room, you're making yourself coffee, come on back and listen intently. In this PDF, I have annotations, notes, highlights, stars. This is your testable material. Technically, I'll test you on anything and everything, but one of the things that really irritated me when I was in school is that I would study everything, and then I'd get on an exam and I'd be like, WTF is this? I didn't study this. I didn't know we had to know this. This is garbage. I would have studied had I known. In my class, you will know. You know how you know? Because I've starred and I've highlighted and I've made it a point to draw your attention to every single thing that I'm going to ask you a question about. So, hint, hint, wink, wink, read that stuff. Read it in your book. Pay attention to it on your PowerPoints. Make sure you know it very well. If you have questions about it, email me. I'll explain it in more detail. But that's your testable material. Okay. this guy, a little video, where I talk about carrying capacity. And every chapter, I talk about the things that I think are a little bit harder to understand, you know, to kind of, most of this class is self-edification, all right? But here I do a little bit more for things that I think are just a little bit more difficult. Here is an article on food sustainability. And here is a video about unsustainable food demands. You are going to watch those, read those, and then answer, responding to this, your discussion forum. So it says, you know, the article, The Great Balancing Act, lists 3 criteria for meeting the demands of future global food needs. Which of these 3 criteria do you feel is most important and why? So this isn't difficult. I don't need peer-reviewed articles for your responses. I don't need you to go and read the entire chapter and respond. All we're doing is looking at a short article, watching a short video, and you're giving me your opinion of which one you think is the most crucial to meeting the world's food demands. And then one of your classmates is going to discuss with you. Maybe they have the same idea, maybe they don't. You guys are going to have a conversation about what you think. Okay, so these are super simple. They don't require a ton of effort, and they're responsible for 10% of your grade. So make sure you get them done. Oh, and I will grade these as they come in. So you have 3 pieces that you have to do for each of these: your thread, your response to 2 students. If you just do your thread, you get 3 points. If you respond to 1 student, you get 6 points. If you do the whole shebang, 10 points, okay? So make sure you're paying attention to your grades, so you make sure that you do all of them in full. And yes, if you see that you only got a 3 because you created your thread and you're waiting to respond to your classmates, I will update your grade as those responses come in. So don't worry, you'll get your 10 when I see your work. Okay, back to lecture. And I mean, honestly, that's pretty much it. So we'll just take a peek at week 2. You're gonna read chapter 3. You're gonna look at the PowerPoint. You're gonna watch the slide on biodiversity. Here's a little video where I talk about ecosystems and energy. Here is your video for your discussion forum. And there's your discussion forum. Do all that stuff during week 2. Week 2 is done. And then according to your schedule, you'll take your quizzes as they go. And that's, honestly, that's what you're gonna do. Just go to your weekly folder, do the stuff, follow the course schedule. There you go. Test 1 is in week 4. So for the entirety of week 4, there is no new material. So if you're behind, get caught up. You can't see it in the folder because I'm on student view and all of your tests and quizzes are under adaptive release. So you have to take one to get to the next. So that's why there's nothing there. It's actually there, you just can't see it. So yeah, so test weeks, there's no new material, you just take your exam. You're gonna wanna review those PowerPoints. Go in and review your quizzes because I have all of your exams set up so that you can see the answers you got wrong. So you can't see the correct answer. That would, you know, technically be cheating, but you can see all the stuff that you answered incorrectly. So, and this is another one of those, hey, if you're gone and you're making coffee, come back to your computer and listen intently, okay? Go into your quizzes, review the material that you got wrong, take your quiz again. Every single exam in this class gets 2 tries. That goes for quizzes and that goes for tests, okay? So take it once, you know, go back in, find your quiz, review it, look at all the stuff you got wrong. Oh, I got the question on ecosystem services wrong. What the heck is an ecosystem service? Go look it up in your book, find it in the PowerPoint, Google it, check it out, learn what it is, take your quiz again, get it right the second time, all right? And then review your quizzes to take your tests. Take your test twice. Everything, twice, okay? It's called studying. You can review the stuff you got wrong, fix it for the next time around. Okay, pretty cool, right? I know, I wish I had that when I was in school. I didn't, but I do it for you. Okay, And I think that's it. That's all I really got to say for lecture. So let's jump into lab. This is what you've been waiting for, right? Okay. So lab, it explains how you're going to do your labs and submitting your labs, which I'm just going to walk you through here. So, read this if you need the review, but here we go. So here is your lab manual. It is free. You don't need to buy it. It belongs to me in the school, okay? If you want a hard copy, you can have a hard copy. There is a print cost, okay? So whatever the lab manual costs from the bookstore, I have recently just got my rights back from Pearson because Pearson driving me crazy, costing you $60 or whatever to print what shouldn't cost more than 20. And now we print it in-house. So it's free in the electronic format here in your laboratory module, okay? But if you are a paper person and you want a hard copy to look at and flip through and make notes, go buy it from the bookstore. It's cheap because we print it on campus now, okay? So there's that. Now, here's your lab material list. If you're making coffee, come back, listen intently. This is important. We're gonna open this guy up, okay? Here we go. Yes, it says summer. It's the same thing. Don't worry about that. It's the same for fall. It's the same for spring. The lab material list hasn't changed. Okay. There we go. Let's open that. Okay. So, no, I want to enable editing. Thank you, Zoom. Okay, so I didn't want to make this class pricey and buy a kit. So I created all of the labs myself so that you could do that at home and still get a hands-on experience, but I could only go so far with, common household items. So there's a handful of things that you have to purchase. Make that order today when you're done watching this video, because sometimes Amazon takes way too long to get stuff to us. But order them ASAP, as soon as possible, immediately, right now, do it, okay? So here's what you need. These things. I've created links. The links should work. Sometimes this Verify goes out of stock and we have to find something different. If it happens to happen this semester, please just email me and I will send you a quick link with a compatible item. But as far as I know, all of these are still available and should remain available indefinitely. You need a water test kit. You need a soil test kit, and you need litmus paper. And litmus paper is really fun. Okay, so that's what you need. These are the things that you must order in order to get this class done. You need them for, I think it's 5 different labs that we'll cover. Order them now. This is important, okay? Don't wait on this. I'm telling you, don't wait on this. If you wait on this, you're not gonna be able to get your labs done in time. You're gonna miss the grace period. You're gonna have zeros. Don't do that to yourself. Order now. Moving on. Here's everything else you need, okay? Now listen, before you even get started in lab, make sure that you have this stuff in your kitchen. If you're a dorm kid, student, sorry, I should say, if you're a dorm student, talk to your RA and see if they can get these things from you. For the most part, we can borrow them from the kitchen on campus, okay? But you shouldn't have a trouble getting these things. And CC3 also is another resource to contact if you're a dorm student and you don't have a proper kitchen, okay? So everybody else, you're at home, you have a kitchen, make sure you have these common household items, okay? A ruler, a coffee mug, a thermometer. Digital is fine, what you take your temperature with normally. If you don't have these things, go get them, okay? And then there's 2 things that you're gonna have to do to carry out these experiments. You need to get crushed eggshells. So you make pancakes in the morning, you have eggs with toast, whatever, rinse out your eggshell and save it, let it dry, and then we're gonna crush them up, okay? And I explain how to do that down here. Now, listen, if you're vegan and you don't handle eggs, use baking soda, okay? But if you're not vegan, don't chintz out on the eggshells, because the eggshells work better. This is just for people who don't want to handle the eggs, okay? Eggshells work better, but baking soda is a close second, okay? But use the eggshells if you can. Then read this. This is how to, what I need you to do. I'm not going to go through it. You can read it. And then you need to obtain a soil sample. Okay. Now listen, sometimes we're going to be in the winter. I'm making this video for all semesters. Okay. So I understand, you know, the soil might be frozen, but in the spring semesters, I try to do the soil lab at the end. In the fall semesters, I do it kind of towards the beginning before the ground freezes. And in the summer, it doesn't matter. Okay. Go get a soil sample. Listen, if you're going to dig a hole in your yard, make sure you know, check with your parents first. Don't just go digging holes in the yard because my teacher said I got to dig a hole. Okay, if it's your yard, if you have a garden, take it from where you do your garden because it's going to be helpful information for gardening. If you don't have a yard and you need to go out and get a soil sample somewhere else, one of the best places to get a soil sample is the dirt on the side of the road, okay? Like somewhere in the country. The country is close enough, you know, walk a couple city blocks and you can get to an area where there's like dirt embankments. The soil is super loose there. Anywhere where you see, you know, a ledge or, you know, you see the dirt exposed in the ditch or, you know, next to a farmer's field, our area is rural. So for the most part, so you shouldn't have any trouble getting a soil sample. If you really got to go for it, go to the state lands and dig a hole. Nobody cares. Go get some soil, okay? Just make sure you obtain your soil legally. Listen, if you're one of these people who's like, I don't have a yard, and you go to the park, don't dig a hole in the middle of a mowed field, okay? Go to the edge where there's weeds, where nobody's walking, dig a hole there, okay? Get a native soil, and this is important. Come back to the screen if I've lost you. Do not use soil from the store. Do not. It takes forever to drain. It already has added nutrients. We want to know what the soil is doing by where we live. So get what's known as a native soil, following the directions I've outlined here in this file, okay? Please, thank you. It'll make a difference. It really does. Okay, so there's that, read through it. And then here's how to dry it, what I want you to do with it. And listen, if you get your soil like the week before we're supposed to do the soil lab, so look at your course schedule when it's coming up, you're gonna have to bake it in the oven to dry it out. So the best thing you can do is go get your soil sample now or as soon as possible. If the ground is thawed, wait till it unthaws, okay? And dry it out for a few days. So like if you're in the dorm and you don't have an oven, don't put it in the microwave. You kind of destroy stuff. But set it out in the open air and let it dry. And then every so often mix it around so that the whole thing dries, okay? Because we're gonna be testing soil in this class a couple times. You're gonna need it. All right. Then back to laboratory and how we do stuff, how we submit. So we're gonna start off with the first one, microscope lab. Here are the directions. Open them up, read them, and follow them. To submit your work, complete the activities. So you're gonna click on this guy and you're gonna answer the questions. That's all you're gonna do. You follow the directions, you click on the activities, you answer the questions. Now, sometimes you're gonna wanna have a window open that has your directions. And in this lab, you're gonna wanna have a window open that has the virtual microscope open, okay? You can kind of write your answers down on the side and then fill them in for the activities. So you kind of have all that at once. Or you can just have those couple windows open and do them kind of as you go through the activity. Now listen, if you don't click submit on your activity, it is just gonna save, but you can't get back into it, okay? It's, you can't access it again. So you have to actually hit submit. Otherwise I have to go in and manually submit them for you. So make sure you don't like walk away from your computer and forget that you were doing your lab. Make sure you submit it when you're done. Otherwise it's, you know, kind of, it's just this weird thing that Blackboard does, all right? So always hit submit when you're done, but not until you're done. And don't go to bed and think you're gonna come back to it in the morning because Blackboard gets all wiry and you can't access it anymore. Okay. So this is the virtual microscope that you're going to use. You just open that up. I'm not going to walk you through that. There's tutorials in it. You can walk it through yourself. If you have questions, always email me, let me know. And then that's it. Like you have all these different activities. Okay. And this is why I don't use Blackboard's calendar, because I got to go through and change the date on every single one of these activities 3 times a year. I'm not doing it. Follow the course schedule I give you. And that's it. Just do your activities. So I'll go back and I'm going to show you one where it's not activities. You actually have to download and re-upload a file. And that is the recycling center. So here, here's your directions. Okay. And then you go into this folder and there's some more stuff. So the assignment, okay, you're going to copy and paste this Google Doc. Okay. And everybody can use Google Doc. So when in doubt, make a Google Doc. If you're not sure, you know, your file is going to upload for me. And if I ever have trouble with anything with your assignments and your activities, I will leave feedback in the comments section on that particular assignment. So if you're like, oh, my grade's really low, why did I get a 0? Why did I only get a 10? Go check that activity. There's going to be feedback waiting for you explaining, hey, I couldn't see what you uploaded, please resubmit it, or you know, you forgot this like whole section, do it again before the grace period kind of thing. And so that's that. So here's where there's not actually an activity link. There's a open up this file, this Google Doc, complete it, and then upload that to the assignment interface, which is right here. You just click it and upload. Okay. The lab report. You have one and only. So it is on stream analysis. And look at here, look at here. The grace period does not apply to lab reports. I'm gonna say it again. Come on back if I've lost you. The grace period does not, no, it doesn't. No, you cannot submit this up until the grace period. Nope. You gotta have it done by Sunday. I am not grading multiple 10-page labs after I have already graded multiple 10-page labs, okay? And I mean 10 pages because most of them, the ones that get A's, that's how long they are. That's how much it takes to do it right. So don't wait until Sunday to do this because you're not gonna do it right. Get it started on Monday. You actually have two or 3 weeks that this covers. Let's look. So, it's usually in the beginning, at least in this fall. Okay, here it is. Stream analysis 1. Stream analysis 2. Write your lab report. So you have 3 weeks. Don't wait. This thing takes a long time. You have to do research. You have to find scholarly, peer-reviewed articles. Don't give me 3 websites as an address, and don't give me Yahoo Ask, okay? Don't give me that garbage. That is not real information. Don't give me something you found on Facebook. Give me Nature, give me Science, give me a reference book from the library. Give me your textbook, give me your lab book. Use real references. This is college, use real information, okay? And you guys, we're all living in a world of misinformation. And so it is crucial that you get your material from a reputable source, okay? And you have 3 weeks to do this. Now, it's broken up into 3 weeks, okay? So if we go to the stream analysis folder, you own one folder, 3 parts, okay? Here is how to do your lab report. Watch that video, 2 pieces, okay? There's tutor help. And then here's your test equipment and stream analysis lab. Open up that folder, okay? It explains to you everything that you should do in week 1, everything that you should do in week 2, everything that you should do in week 3. Now, if you work ahead, you are gonna be happy with yourself, okay? You procrastinate and you wait until the end of week 3, you are not gonna be happy, okay? So, word to the wise, I'm letting you know, okay? We have to do lab reports. It's part of a general education requirement. You only have to do 1. This is it. You have 3 weeks to do it. Now, one thing I will, you're going to watch this video that says you know how to do your lab report, but one thing I will bring to your attention is your lab report guidelines. When you open up the file, there is a rubric, a point-specific rubric that I use to grade you. I literally pull it out and I check boxes. Okay, use the rubric, when you're writing your lab report. You will make sure it's a checklist. Use it like a checklist. Did I include everything that I needed to include in my introduction, my methods, materials, and my discussion? Okay, use it to your, it's there for you to use so you can do well on this. And this lab report is 20% of your lab grade. So if you don't submit one, you can't get higher than an 80. And the better you do in lab, the better you do in lecture. So make sure you do this, okay? Lots of information here, poke around, okay? You can look through that when the time comes. Here are your discussions, okay? If you see like a thread, it's because I added a question in there or something to get, you know, the ball rolling, but for the most part, I leave it up to you guys. And that's, you know, pretty much it. I will submit announcements, okay? On the announcements, you can see there's like a little welcome. Make sure you read this. When I say make sure you read this, I mean it. Make sure you read this, okay? I leave this up here indefinitely, still struggling with the lab report, okay? Check this out, go back and review. Students hate having to write papers. I know, you gotta do it, it's college. One last thing I wanted to say is I will submit what I call the missing work file. It's my grade book, okay? And it works like a grid. So I take my grade book, it's also color coded, all right? And you have all of your students' names in your class, and you have all of the assignments for lecture. And then on the next sheet, because this is an Excel file, so you gotta like tab over to lab, you will have all of your names in a column and all of your labs there in a row. If there is a black box in line with your name, you are missing the item in the column above. You might think you did it. I don't have a grade. That is a surefire way to know what you're missing. And I will send that out so that you can check, find your name, make sure there are no black boxes. And if there's black boxes, get it done by the grace period. So you can get your points, at least most of them, okay? So that's it. That's all I have for you right now to get you started on this class. If I were you, I would go to my course schedule and download it and put it on my desktop so it's easy access. Then I would go to my lab materials list and I would get right on Amazon and I would order what I needed. And beyond that, I would go to the week 1 folder, start getting my work done, and work ahead. You can work ahead in this class so that you don't have so much to do at the end of the semester or around midterms when you have crazy amounts of stuff to do in other classes. If you have any questions, always, always, always email me. I'm going to try to make eye contact with you. Always, always, always email me. And I hope you enjoy the class. It's a pretty good class. And that's it. So thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. And I hope you do well.